Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be reviewing the action crime comedy film The Nice Guys. It was released in 2016 at the Cannes Film Festival in France, then later in America the same year via Warner Bros. Pictures distribution. The movie was written by Anthony Bagarozzi and Shane Black, who also happened to direct the film. The film was edited by Joel Negron. Cinematography was done by Philippe Rousselot, who has done really good work in both European and American mainstream cinema. Musical scoring was done by John Ottman and David Buckley. The film was produced by Joel Silver among production companies Rat Pack Dune Entertainment, Silver Pictures, as well as Waypoint Entertainment. As mentioned earlier, it was distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures in the United States and by Bloom for international releases. Now, the film had a budget of around $50 million, but unfortunately only made around $62.8 million at the box office. Now, this means a few things. One, the film had barely made its money back and sent a strong message to the industry that these types of films don't make a lot of money. Which is a shame, considering how good a movie this is. Though the money did not show for it, the reception definitely did. It received positive reception during its initial release at the Cannes Film Festival, as well as its release in America throughout. Now, the film holds a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.3 out of 10 from IMDb, a 4 out of 5 from The Independent, as well as a 79% rating from Just Watch and general audiences on Google. Overall, a really good movie with a rating that ranges between 80 and 90% approval from both audiences and professional critics. Now, I personally wish the film had made a lot more money to send a message to Hollywood for people to make more movies like this. It was very entertaining. We'll get into the details a little later. The film stars Russel Crowe as a pair of muscles for hire that goes by the name of Jackson Healy. Ryan Gosling plays a private investigator by the name of Holland March. Angourie Rice as Holly March, among others. I do apologize if I left out a lot of other actors and stars in the film, as well as mispronounced any names. Now, moving on to a really concise, condensed, summarized plot of the film. It takes place in late 70s Los Angeles, where this private investigator, played by Ryan Gosling, Holland March, who makes an alliance with a pair of muscles for hire, Russel Crowe's character, who is Jackson Healy, and they team up so that they can find a missing girl. I don't want to give too much of that away, but that's pretty much the overall plot of the film. A lot of action, comedy, and drama ensues throughout until a climax. So overall, how does the film stack up? Pretty good. The action, the comedy, the plot progression, as well as the relationship between the two main leads is very funny, very entertaining throughout. It's both fun and interesting. The two actors, as well as the writing and plot progression, really are what drives the film forward and makes it just such an entertaining ride from beginning to end. Just an overall really good movie. First up, we're going to talk about the writing, pacing, the directing, editing, cinematography, sound score, and then acting. So first up, the writing and pacing is just great. Shane Black and Anthony Bagarozzi, I do apologize for mispronouncing his name. They did a really good job of making the film truly entertaining from beginning to end. You know, you're just constantly watching this and having a good time. The film has a runtime of around 2 hours, but you're never bored during this time. I personally never found myself, just kind of rolling my eyes or wondering, man, is this pointless dialogue or whatever? I'm tired, looking at my watch. Had none of that. No unnecessary jokes or stupid gags, just very nice chemistry from Ryan Gosling and Crowe, very entertaining plot progression throughout. In fact, it's their back and forth relationship that really shines in this film, and just really good stuff. What's an interesting part of this film that I personally enjoyed is that there are a lot of funny one-liners that come out of these actors, so keep an eye on that when you're watching. Just have your ears open. I'm sure you'll just naturally find what they say very funny, but there's some stupid stuff they say. For instance, Crowe's character, he says early on in the film, he says marriage is buying a house for somebody you hate. Kind of like a cliche, like a dad joke or something like that, a divorcee joke, but I just found that to be hilarious, and there's plenty of those throughout. Now, along with funny one-liners, there are funny scenes that still serve to move the plot forward. They're not just simple throwaway jokes or cheap gags or tricks. Rather, there are true scenes that are just decorated with comedic elements throughout, which is how it should be, in my opinion, depending on the type of film being made or genre. These comedic elements are displayed by both characters, but a little bit more so on Gosling's character, Mr. March, and He kind of serves as the goofball of the group, which I found very entertaining. Now, in terms of the directing, Shane Black did a really good job. He had very nice, very smart, intelligent, and creative decisions and works to push the film along pleasantly. Even some of the more cheesier gags or jokes came off as funny and natural. Just really good work. The editing is pretty good too. They did a really good job with all the clips made available to them. There's a lot of good use of Los Angeles sceneries and like pannings throughout that makes you really pay attention to what's going on. Just pretty good stuff. There is some dialogue that takes place over slow panning shots over the Los Angeles scenery, which was pretty good. The cinematography is better than good. It's great. I had a very fun time watching the camera, where it was going, where it was placed, how it was placed in order to emphasize certain elements of a scene, to invoke emotion and whatnot. Is very good placement. It works in scenes that are funny and in scenes that are serious. You know, Philip Rossellot really knows how to do good work. Now, moving on to the musical score, music components throughout the film, I gotta say it's pretty good. It's something I didn't really notice too much during my first few times viewing, but after a rewatch or two with specific attention to this detail, I noticed all the fast-paced jazz noir that takes place during action scenes, which I really enjoyed. Very good musical elements added. Not to mention the audio work is just great overall. I make these videos and skits, and so I know a thing or two about audio. Nothing serious, but it is a pain in the butt to get right. Not impossible or wildly difficult, but depending on the work and what needs to be done, it can make it really difficult. And so it does take time and focus to get things right, and so really good work on their end. Now you gotta remember, this is an action film, which is typically louder than most other genres of film because they have certain elements of loud gunshots, glass breaking, cars crashing, buildings breaking or collapsing, you name it, all of which needs to be matched up with the correct audio and at appropriate volumes, which can make it more difficult. So that's why I kind of give it a little bit more praise in this type of action film. Moving on to the acting in this film, pretty good. Everyone does a really good job. I like Gosling's character, I like Crowe's character. If I were to describe them, I'd say Gosling's character is more comedic, more investigative, kind of has the brains of the two. Whereas Crowe's character has the muscles, you know, he moves the plot forward, he can get his hands dirty to do the right or wrong thing. It kind of is cool to see that. And Miss Rice's character, which is Holland March, his daughter, they do pretty good work with her. They use her very interestingly. For instance, I could imagine her character in like an animated version of this, or a cartoon being played by some talking dog, or a pair of talking handcuffs, or a talking gun, or like a car, like an Inspector Gadget. But they use her character very interesting. She's the daughter, so she's obviously not going to get into adult situations, but in the more serious or adult situations she does happen to get into, she can play a little bit more mature, a little bit more adult, and ask the right questions to gather information and move the plot forward in a nice way. She's not just some annoying little girl in the film who's just kind of screaming or crying throughout. She's pretty good. Everyone does a really good job. You're interested in every character, and just overall really good stuff from everybody. Overall review, pretty great. I totally recommend you guys watch it. You won't waste a minute of your time. I wish more films like this came out and existed. All the comedy throughout keeps you interested. So does the crime, the thriller in it. It's all just really good, and I can't say it enough. Totally recommend it. It's a fun movie. You're not going to regret it at all. That's going to be it for me in this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take care.